Hey, I just wanted to talk a little bit about exclusive pumping today. So, this is a tough one. Many people either find that they have to exclusively pump or they choose to exclusively pump. And when I say have to, I mean this is somebody who has decided that they want to provide their breast milk for their child, and that for whatever reason they have decided that they prefer pumping, or their baby is not latching well or cannot get the milk well, or there's some reason on the baby side where they have to pump instead of direct nursing. Now, I clarify that this is when a mother chooses to do this because I don't want it to seem like I'm saying, well, if your baby won't latch, you have to pump, or you have to pump instead of giving formula. If pumping is difficult or you don't want to breastfeed, then you don't have to pump. But many people choose to give their child human milk and for whatever reason can't do it at the breast or choose not to do it at the breast. So for those women, they become exclusive pumpers. And there's just a few things to kind of know about exclusive pumping. One is it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time. So you're essentially kind of hooking yourself up to this pump where you have to spend, let's say, 15 minutes each time simply hooked up and pumping. And then you potentially have to clean everything, store the milk. You still have to feed your baby too. So it's almost like it takes double the amount of time. And unfortunately, you don't necessarily get all the, snuggles that go with direct breastfeeding either. So it's not necessarily fun. I'm not saying it's horrible, but the pumping itself is usually not a particularly enjoyable experience. So because of that, it can be harder to sustain than direct nursing, depending on the situation. So some things that you can do if you're in this situation is to try to make that time when you are pumping more enjoyable. So is there something that you really love to do? Perhaps you can, find a really good book, and whenever you're pumping, you get to read that book, or a really good TV show, or, if that's your time to scroll Facebook or something like that, you kind of treat yourself to that when you're pumping. Now, this is, of course, in an ideal world, but you don't also have a toddler hanging on to you, or your baby also needs to be taken care of during that time that you're hooked up. That can be very difficult. And so some people choose to use pumps that are wireless and are wearable pumps, essentially, so that they can still be doing other things while they're pumping. And that can be a great option if it's something that works for you. Some women find that they work, some women find that they don't like them or that they don't work as well. So it's certainly an option, especially if you are pumping at work and you have a sort of job where you're on your feet and you're moving around and doing things and you can't just sit every 3 hours for 15 minutes and pump. So that's one thing, is to just kind of know that it's not necessarily easier. Now, women who are in a lot of pain when they're direct nursing, or find that direct nursing just takes way too long because their baby has some difficulty getting the milk, those women may find that actually pumping is easier and more enjoyable because there's less stress. And that's okay. Again, we're kind of getting at the fact that what works for one person isn't always what works for another person. So those are a few things. Another is, again, just ways that we can make it a little bit simpler and more enjoyable for people who are exclusively pumping. One tip is to have multiple sets of bottles and pump supplies and all of that, so that you don't have to necessarily clean everything after every single use. You could even have like 8 different sets, and just at the end of the day, every day you throw it all into the dishwasher and you wash it all. And that way you don't have to be stuck sitting there cleaning things in between pump sessions. Because of course, in between those pump sessions, you want to live your life. You want to be able to spend time with your baby or your other children or do your own things. So as little time as we can spend with the mechanics of pumping, the better. Another thing is to just be aware that there are some potential side effects that go along with pumping. One thing is that some women have discomfort with pumping, and trying some different pumps or some different settings on your pump may help you to find a more comfortable setting. No matter what we do, pumping is not natural. And so it's almost never going to be perfect. We have to kind of split the difference in terms of what we figure out that works and is more comfortable. And oftentimes having a breastfeeding professional lactation consultant, for instance, to come and help you with sizing and with kind of going through a pump session and making sure that you're optimizing both comfort and effectiveness, that can be very, very helpful. And to remember that those things might change over time. So your overall production may change, and so that may change the amount of time you spend pumping. The size of your nipples and your breasts and your areola may change over time, and so the sizing may change of the flange that you need to use. So if you suddenly out of the blue start to notice that you have pain when for months you didn't, that might be something to look at to see if maybe you need to resize things. Or it could also be that the sizing hasn't been perfect, but it's been tolerable, but you've kind of been creating a little bit of trauma, and eventually it's kind of caught up with you. And so again, working with somebody to try to figure out what's going on there and making adjustments if possible can be very helpful. Another thing with pumping is that we unfortunately have to kind of guess how much we need to pump. We need to guess how much we need to get out. So therefore, how long we need to pump and what volume we need to stop at. And we may not always know, or we may be kind of tempted by being able to see what's going on to pump more than we actually need to. So a lot of the time people who pump sometimes pump themselves into overproduction. Some people do this on purpose. They want to donate, or there's some reason why they want to have a kind of an extra amount stashed away for some reason. Or one time that it's important to do this is when you have a premature baby that in the beginning may be taking a very, very small amount. So if you only pumped for the amount that the baby needs to take then you are going to have some problems later on when your baby needs more. So you actually need to start pumping for a full-term baby, for what we would expect for that full-term baby right off the bat. But if you already have a full-term baby and you've gotten to, let's say, 2 weeks or a month, and your baby's taking all of their feeding by breast milk, you have an idea of how much they're going to need. And that's not going to really change too much the whole time that you're going to be pumping for your child, or at least for that whole first year, believe it or not. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but I actually have that in another video, and you can see how that works, that the amount of breast milk that a breastfed baby takes over the first year stays pretty steady from 1 month to 12 months. So it's not like you have to feel like, okay, well, right now I'm making 24 ounces a day for my baby, and that's perfect. But 5 months from now, I'm going to need to be making 40 ounces. So I just want to get to 40 now to make sure that I'm good later, because you shouldn't be needing that much later. Just to follow up on that, you want to be pumping about the amount that your baby is taking each day. So you don't need to have a lot stashed away. We always say, don't feed the freezer, feed the baby. Now, some women don't have any problems from having overproduction, but some do. That can sometimes lead to plugged ducts and mastitis and other complications. So especially if you're one of those women, we want to make sure that we try to pay attention to how much we're pumping and stop a little bit early. Don't pump to empty necessarily if your body is already making way more than you need to make. And again, that's something you may need to do with the help of a specialist to do it safely. Another thing is that when we're pumping, we see the milk. When you're breastfeeding at the breast, you don't really see the milk. So there can be things happening with the milk that seem wrong or seem scary even, that aren't really anything wrong. And if your baby was at the breast, same thing would be happening. You just wouldn't see it and your baby would be fine. So occasionally there can be some breakage of the small blood vessels in the nipple or in the breast, and that can lead to something called strawberry milk, or it's like literally a little bit of blood that gets mixed into the milk and like makes it look pink. If it's not related to pain, it is usually short-lived and not a problem, and your baby can drink that milk. So, I think ultimately it's a matter of weighing the benefits to you of giving your milk to your baby versus some of the difficulties that can go along with pumping. And that can help you over time to decide whether or not you want to continue. And if you get to a point where you're just like, okay, I'm done, I don't want to be stuck to this anymore, or I feel like I'm spending more time with the pump than I am with my baby and that doesn't feel good, or you're having a lot of pain with pumping and that doesn't feel good, or that's affecting your mental health or your physical health. We have to weigh those things. And again, it's going to be different for each person what you give more weight to, but it's really important, I stress this over and over again, to take care of yourself. So if you are struggling and you are just putting up with it because you feel like it's the best thing for your baby, it's not necessarily the best thing for your baby. The best thing for your baby is you taking care of yourself and you being well, because then you are going to be a better parent for your baby. And I know that can be hard, especially when you may have imagined that you were going to feed your baby in one way and it's not working out that way. That can be very sad for some people and difficult to let go. And that's completely understandable, but it doesn't make you any less of a mom. In fact, it may make you even more of a mom to, make that decision so that you can be there more for your child. But don't feel like you have to make that decision alone. It's ultimately your decision, but there are people out there who can help you to figure this out and talk through it. So there's breastfeeding professionals, there are perinatal mental health professionals, also just talking to your spouse or your friends. You know which friends are going to be helpful and which ones aren't. A lot of time we just need somebody to listen, not to tell us what to do. And when they listen and we talk things out, we start to figure things out more. So hopefully this has been helpful. Exclusive pumping is a thing. I feel like some women go into their breastfeeding journey planning on doing that. And again, if you have a reason for that, there's nothing wrong with it. But I just like for people to understand that it's not necessarily simple and straightforward. I did have one mom a while ago who just had some anxiety, a little bit of kind of OCD, and it was very stressful not knowing how much her baby was getting with each feeding. It just was, and there was no way around that. She wanted to give human milk. It was worth it to her to put up with the various difficulties of pumping to know how much her baby was getting each time in a bottle. And that was her weighing the pluses and minuses, and that's not going to always be the case for everyone. But it made sense for her, and that's great. And I was there to help her figure out how to do it as comfortably and efficiently and for as long as she wanted to. But I'm not here to push that on anyone. So just remember, there are people out there who can help you to figure this out. Do not hesitate to call on lactation consultants, breastfeeding medicine professionals. There are lots of people out there who can help you. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a great day.